Hi, I'm Helene Guillaume, the founder and CEO of Wild AI. I think some of you know the company or use Wild AI, so very happy to be here. This is me, 8 months and a half pregnant. I'm now 8 months postpartum, but what I was hearing when I was showing this is insane, this is not reasonable, and the reason why we hear these things is, and the reason why people feel they have the right to judge what women are doing is what we're going to go through. Wild AI. So today I am speaking about the female biohacker. It's a word that is often coined to men, biohacking. So what does biohacking mean? It's really the gradual analysis of what is happening in our body with the objective of having a better life, more vitality and longevity. What is really interesting in women is that we are actually the original biohackers. When you think about it, like we are the people who are looking at understanding what is happening in our bodies, because the traditional medicine has not solved us. And we feel these things, so we're looking at teas and acupuncture and alternative medicines. But today, this word is very coined masculine. But what we are going to talk today is why it's actually a very feminine world and what we can do with it. Women are not men, men are not women, but until now, really the science thought we were. That is why only 20% of the medical research is still done today only on men, which is pretty drastic. And we just had an amazing panel on wearables and the use of data and how can we actually use these wearables for women. The reality is there is a little bit of research and is moving a little bit forward, but we're very, very backward still. This is my body temperature prepartum. Varying over the day, so up and down, up and down. The algorithm thinks I'm sick. The reality is that I'm just ovulating, or I might be pregnant or in perimenopause, but the wearables today really struggle to understand these things. We're getting there, but we're doing a partnership with Aura, which we're very happy of, but really the reality is that 20% of the medical research still today thinks that this data is because I'm sick as a man. So how can we move forward and how can we change what is called technology today? But if you think about sports, female sports, tech, female tech, and when we have tech, it's actually men tech, if we are called female tech. And then, as women, you cannot solve women by just thinking, okay, we're gonna estimate when they're going to have their periods, which, by the way, we actually know. But we have to solve women as a whole because we are going through these massive life stages all the time. So as a woman, as a single woman, like just by myself, and like raise your hands if you want to share, but who has used multiple contraceptives? Who has used morning after pill? Who has had a miscarriage? Who has had a baby, lactation? And we go through these big life stages, endometriosis, PCOS, we go through these big life stages, and we cannot solve women by having a period toggle on off. That is actually not enough. So this is why it's actually really hard for someone who is not an expert in females to actually go into the female sector, because we think, oh, we're going to solve them by telling them when they have their periods, but there is so much more in female health, which is why it is so incredibly interesting. And then for the 40 years when we do have a menstrual cycle, everything changes all the time. Body temperature, we've seen it, resting heart rate, energy, willingness to train, sex drive. I'll give you an anecdote. When I was at the beginning of the company, we were 2 women, 2 men sitting, and we were saying, what should we track as a business? And we were saying, the 2 women, we said, oh, we should track sex drive. And the guys were saying, why would we track sex drive? It never changes. And we were like, it changes all the time. And this is why, like my peak sex drive when I ovulate is like I feel like superpowers. But if we do not understand that, if the company doesn't have that as a DNA, that we are going to track this data that is so important for women, it's very hard to go after that. So what can we do today, like as a status? How can we advance this biohacking? How can we as women and how can we as companies change so that the future, the previous question, how can the future actually include women in understanding our bodies and empowering women to to understand better our bodies and really adore our bodies. My company is called World AI because we have the AI element, the algorithms, the structure, the rules. If you understand the rules, then you can really go beyond. You can go further, you can innovate, you can go wild, which is why we called World AI. But until today, really, we've been restricted as women. We've been underserved, under-researched, mocked. You know, this sentence, women are moody and bitchy, we're complicated. Everyone laughs, it's like, haha. I find it really insulting. I do not think it's okay to tell that women are complicated and that's it. I have pain, it's normal because you're a woman. I have symptoms, it's normal because you're in menopause. Pain is not normal, but we are mocked as women. We're very much undermined. And I'm gonna go a little bit backwards in history. Like, why is it that as women we're mocked? Our fluids actually disregarded and are like, really seen as something that is bad. You know, vaginal fluids and sweat. A woman is not supposed to be sweating. Period blood is, you know, in some countries it's dirty. Breast milk, by the way, who here who hasn't breastfed know how many holes the milk comes out from? Yeah, I didn't know until I breastfed. It's like 7, 8. I thought it was one hole. Why is that? Because there's a mysticism. There is a massive taboo about the female health. We have no idea. And you know, breast milk is, we're saying formula from another animal might be better than a female breast milk. Why is that? That we really mock and undermine everything that is linked to women, whereas when you think about the male fluids, the semen is this incredible thing that is glorified in every average porn movie. So how can we change that? And so I've been really wondering, like, where is the source of this? And I'm thinking of this massive marketing company, which is the biggest marketing company in the world. It's a religion. And if you think about it, like, he drank wine and he made blood, and he ate bread and he made flesh, and then but if you flip and you change he by she, like, she drank and she made blood, she ate and she made flesh, and not a rib, but she made a whole human from her insides, and actually, like, suddenly it makes completely sense. And having given birth, I'm like, oh my God, I am God. Like, we are gods. Yes. But all of us, and somehow we have undermined women. Like, we do not glorify these people who create all of us and create humanity. And why is that? It's because we have to protect this guy. And I'm not undermining men here, but really, I think it's really important that we put back women at their place, which is, wow, we have an incredible body. And so now we are changing slowly. This is The Economist, and like we start to see some correlation. So ACL injuries with ovulation, every month our body opens up to get pregnant. So joint laxity opens up, this is a correlation. So now we start seeing more and more research, which is good news, but we still have so much work to do. This is where we're coming in. So World AI is, what we're doing is research on the female body, which we translate into our app, helping women eat, exercise, and recover with the menstrual cycle, if they have a cycle, or with the symptoms, if they're in perimenopause, menopause, if they use any contraceptive. And so the way it works is we take data from wearables, manual input, we aggregate these two together, it gives us a readiness score, and based on the score, we provide you recommendations on a daily basis, what to eat, how to train, how to recover, and what is happening in your body. This is, some people on the previous panel were saying, like, clinicians and other people want to see where women are, so we also launched this coach dashboard, which can also be used by clinicians, to see where all the women are, what all the stats, what does it mean. So we're really creating this whole platform where women can understand the body, demystify what is happening to the bodies, and really take advantage of their bodies, and then work with professionals who can help them. This is today. We take data from a lot of wearables, and tomorrow we're actually creating a widget so that any company can leverage on our research. So instead of just serving women with a toggle period on off, they can actually use all of the continuous research that we're doing. We contribute with universities and PhD students. Why is hard for third parties? Because this is a peer toggle, and they say this was launched in 2021, I think, by Apple. It's like quite late if you think about it, but this is a subset of the 149 contraceptives that we cover. If you want to cover women, IUD is different than the pill. Is like, so we have a lot to do. As a company, we started with women who do a lot of sports, but we're also serving women who are exercising a few times a week, and we are loved by women, by the press. We've been, I don't know if you've seen Dragon's Den, it was an interesting experience. And we also work with some of the best people in the world. Dr. Stacey Sims has done all her research and is really the leader in her field in female physiology and sports, and we contribute with universities. So there is hope, and there are many companies now coming out. I think Wonko is here, and a few companies doing the really interesting things. So as biohackers, as individuals, why it's important to try to understand better our bodies as women ourselves, but also as companies. So what we can do, 2023 is not done. We still have 6 months left. So we can do things, and the one thing that is interesting in biohacking is nature versus nurture. So if we think of our nature, we can do DNA tests today, and we can have presets that would tell us these are the best optimal things that you can do for your DNA type. And you can do 23andMe and all these DNA tests at home. This is what biohacking means, is like trying these things. But there's also a lot of things that we can do in terms of like using wearables, using information and testing and learning, so tracking what we're doing. So LH tests, so you know what you're ovulating, CGMs as previously, continuous glucose monitor, and all these things that are available to us and actually like affordable today are really interesting ways to understand your body, and using products like World AI to track what you are testing, what is functioning, what is not functioning, and what works for your body. The reason why it's really important for us as women to do it is that there isn't really a lot of research behind, and there isn't a lot of knowledge yet. So when we were in the previous panel, they were saying, in menopause, we don't really know what's happening in perimenopause. So if we are tracking today as individuals, we can really contribute to that research. So my big take on that would be to encourage to track ourselves a bit more and learn ourselves and test and learn, and because knowledge is power. And that is why it is so interesting that until now, we didn't have access to this knowledge as women. You were saying just before, some women didn't know that their body temperature was fluctuating over the menstrual cycle. Some people think menstrual cycle is just the periods. And knowledge is power, because when we have knowledge, we can really go beyond. And I'll give you a personal story. I grew up doing a lot of sports. So I was a competitive swimmer, I was a semi-pro rugby player, competitive triathlete, competitive ultramarathon runner, so a lot of sports. I'm also a data scientist by training, studied mathematics and financial risk, and I was a quant in a hedge fund, so that's the data side. But in sports growing up, I actually didn't think it was cool to be a girl or a woman. I'm less fast, less strong, less interesting than men, so I'm not portrayed in media, which is very insulting. And so as a woman, I was just thinking, this is the end, that's it, it's just less cool. And I was a bit mocked as well when I was playing rugby. Guys were saying like, oh, girls playing rugby is cute. And I was like, waking up at 5 a.m. in winter is like, it's not cute, we're actually athletes. And that is the reality. And so my mission is to really give the tools and power to women to perform, because and through the knowledge that we're giving you access to power, which is my primary reason I'm building that, is to give it to myself, because I don't want me as a little girl or me as a woman to think it's not cool. And now I have a daughter, and yeah, I just want her to embrace, we are creating humanity, and it's amazing. So we cannot say this body is like not functioning really well and is like leaking everywhere and it's just really annoying. It's not. We have to really flip the story, and we have to think it's amazing to be women. So what we can do today is really become active participants in this biohacking, and it goes like from doing things at home with herbal teas to like the most advanced biohacking tools with like the wearables, but also testing your own blood and testing nootropics and alternative CBDs and things like that. So yeah, make a plan of the most crazy things you want to achieve. We have an incredible life. As women, you know, longevity, what I find amazing in longevity conferences is like, they never say, analyze and study women to understand how can we increase the longevity of men, whereas we live longer. So why are we living longer, first of all? We actually don't know, it's not research. And then measure progress, embrace the fails. If we fail, it means we're doing things well. And yeah, this is also, our mission as a company is provide to women of all ages, life stages, and ethnicities the tools and power to perform. And the future I would like to see is a future where all women have these tools and feel amazing.